Hey everyone, this is Mary. You're watching another little piece of my art. I had a request from Suzy to show how to use, excuse me, some oil pastels on a background of a coloring page. So I had a bunch of stuff out right now trying to finish up my finishes so I could record that video, and I thought I would go ahead and record this one for her. And then just as I'm doing it, my tripod broke. So you know how many tripods I've been through. It's ridiculous. So now I'm back to the one that holds my phone really good, but the base of it is like three little sticks, like three little toothpicks. So I'm gonna try really hard not to topple over, but you know how it goes. Okay, so I happen to have been using some Sargent Art, like vintage oil pastels on just a journal page that I was doing. Then I remembered that Suzy had asked this, so I'm going to pull out the Crayola oil pastels because I thought she said she had those. I'm not 100% sure that's what she said, but I think that's what she said. Okay, so you can excuse me, you can do the background beforehand or you can do it after. I like to do it, I have done it both ways, but I kind of feel like if I do it ahead of time, I just feel like I won't go over anything. The only thing is to consider is that if you get the oil pastel too far up into the picture and then you're going to try to use a marker, that could be a problem. I don't really use markers that much, and I especially don't use them in this type of a book. So I'm not worried about that, but so generally I would just take a look at the picture that I've got going on here. So I have a snake. In this particular book, they already have these blue blobby blobs. So I think I'm gonna pull I think I'll do my snake not green because I always do them green. So I'll pull out some greens for the background, and then basically what you would think about is, do you want it to go from dark to light out, or do you want it to go from, reverse, light to dark? I think I want it to go from light to dark, so I'm going to take, for some reason I'm drawn to this color, and it's not even a green, it's more like a, does it tell me? It is, it's sea green. So I'm going to take that color and kind of pick some spots to apply it randomly here. So, I would, if I was doing this not on camera, I would take a little more care probably and planning and stuff, but I'm just trying to kind of give an idea how this works. So, I just basically want it to be kind of spaced here and there to create flow in the composition. And so, not that my eye is just going to be stuck on one part, you know what I mean? Okay, so then maybe I'll feather it out a little bit. I'll feather it out there, depending on how much space you have to work with. Feather it out. All right, now I'm going to take my, let's see. I think this one is green yellow. And I think I'm going to leave that one out for right now and go to this is yellow green. Green yellow and yellow green. Okay, so then I'm just going to and I'm using kind of a light pressure, similar to what you would do if you were coloring with a crayon. Very similar. And then I'm just going to kind of go down and around, down. And here, usually I don't do too many backgrounds on these because they have the splotches for me, but sometimes I do. Excuse me. And then we have here. I'm trying not to get too many like lines because, you know, then I'm gonna have to blend that out. It's gonna be harder for me. Not that it's hard at all, really. This is one of the easier ways to do background. Now, see, I just got it in the snake. I'm just trying to kind of push that off because that way whatever I'm going to use doesn't have a resist from the wax of the oil pastel. So here's what I use. It's a dryer sheet. It's a used dryer sheet. And I kind of make just a covering over my fingernail. Now you could use it over a paper stump if you don't like the feeling. Maybe over a chapstick, or I don't know, something. Some people use Q-tips. Some people like to just use their finger. It just depends on how you feel about it, but I kind of like the dryer sheet. Maybe it's because even though I use them more than once, they still have a little bit of, you know, smell to them. And I'm like, So that's what I do. I just start blending it. And, you know, you can add as many layers as you want. You can keep going back in. Oops. If you feel like, oh, well, that kind of looked darker than what I thought it was going to be. Just remember the order that you put them and try not to, because you don't want it to be a muddy mess. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you can definitely go back and add some more if you want to. So maybe I'm like, well, the blue just kind of comes right off, doesn't it? Isn't that weird? Maybe I'm like, well, this is okay and everything, but it really doesn't have much depth to it, so I think I want something a little bit darker. Then I can go back to my colors that I have here, and I think this one's just going to be too dark. This one is this one is forest green. And this one is just green. So I'm going to look at just green and see. Maybe come around here. And bring that down a little bit. Maybe come in here. So, basically just to say that, you know, as many ways as people can think of hacks to just about everything in painting and art and everything, I'm sure that there are just as many ways to accomplish this. I'm going to go back over here with that light blue scrubbed out, or light green. I just don't particularly like the way that it feels on my fingertips, but I have, you know, I have just used my fingertips before, and if you're going to do that, like, I would keep going like this and get the blood flowing and get your fingers warm, and then you're going to be able to push that around because your fingers are going to be melting the wax. So, yeah. It's going to leave a little bit of a, it just depends on what you're using and how much, like dye and stuff is in it. It should soap off, but you never know. This is Crayola though, so it should be non-toxic. It should not be staining little ones' hands for days or anything like that. But, some art supplies, you just never know. You get them on you and then there's dye in there that you didn't know about, and days later you're still walking around looking like a mess. So I just wanted to show you both ways that you can use them. Like I said, I was just thinking about this earlier. When I was young, like 10 years old, I started taking classes in oil painting. And that was like the first thing I really ever got into, other than, just sitting around your house drawing with markers or whatever you do as a kid. And I didn't like the mess of it. I mean, even back then, it was just like so much to clean up, so messy, you know what I mean? And then I went from there and I went into acrylic painting. And I did acrylic painting for a lot of years. And I used to have, get booths and stuff like that at fairs or whatever and sell things that I painted on, wooden boxes and canvases and things like that. And it got to the point where I just didn't even like that anymore. Like, I don't know. It's just the older I get, the less, maybe because I've just been a mom for so long and, I don't want to clean up messes anymore. So, so yeah, you can do this however well, since this came off last time, I'll do it with my fingers. Because this has texture. Your dryer sheets have texture. The longer you use them, the softer they get, the better they work. You know what? It would almost be like a tissue, except for you couldn't really use a tissue because a tissue is just too delicate and would fall apart. But the dryer sheets have some stronger fibers in them, and they work really good. That one's a little too fresh. I think it's only been through my dryer a couple times, and it's still kind of hard, so it took this light green right off. But, yeah, you could try it like that and see what you think, or try it with your fingers and see what you think. Or you could get the paper stumps at the store. They come in a bag. I think they're called, the real term is tortillons or tortillons or something like that. Or you can make your own by just getting a piece of cardboard and rolling it on the diagonal. Let's see if I have a piece to show you what I mean. What's this? Well, this isn't cardboard, but if you wanted to make a tortillon, you would take a piece of cardboard, something thicker, and roll it on the diagonal like this, and roll it up. And then you would get a point at the top eventually. And it would be, heavier weight. But you would use that. And then as it gets nasty, you could either scrape off the gunk, or you could cut it down at another angle and use it again. So yeah, let's see, that green is pretty dark, isn't it? That's why I didn't want to go in with that other green, because this green is pretty dark, and I'm not going to want to overpower whatever this snake is going to end up being. So hang on a second. Let's see. So this is what it looks like so far, and I think you get the idea. You're just going to layer and blend and layer and blend until you get as much as you want. It's very similar to using your chalk pastels, really, except for just a different type of mess. So I hope this helped you out, Susie. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.